excited about it than you were before you started talking. Because when you speak out, you bring out a extra all-enveloping light, which envelops you in a very essential way and brings down Mamala, if it's Torah, and brings down Mamala a very, very high makif, which is a kol shechem. It's how much more so a fortiori compared to what you had anyway by studying deeply. So therefore, we see that the Gemara says in Masechta Eruvin, it's right near the end of Masechta Eruvin, the Gemara says that there's a pasuk, Chaim Heim Lamoito Ehem. These things are alive to those who find them. That's a pasuk. You have to forgive me, I've just forgotten the pasuk for a moment. Chaim Heim Lamoito Ehem says the Gemara, Al Tikrei, don't read Moito Ehem. No, I'm sorry. Oh, no, the other way. Chaim Heim Lamoito Ehem. They are alive for those who find them. Motet, to find. And so the Gemara says, don't learn to find, or to bring them out. Chaim Heim Lamoito Ehem, that they are alive for those who bring Divrei Torah, Achaim V'Je'el Shemoitzim as a Divrei Torah Pepeh. It's written before in the Gemara. That if you say it out, it's like you find a new Chaim, it's like a new life altogether for those who bring them out into Diva. And that's what the Alter Rebbe is adding here, that there's a tremendous mitzvah to actually speak out the Divrei Torah, not just the mitzvahs, but that's one thing. But even when you're learning very deeply, to nonetheless say it out as much as you can. Have a chavrusa or say it out, even just to say it out into the air, it would also have the same effect. How much more so if you talk it to another person. So the Alter Rebbe says that went through that, you are the hevel adibur nase bechinas ur makif k'meish kosu b'priyet chaim. Now that tends to indicate that the hevel itself, or this breath that you breathe when you speak, this hevel of the mouth, that itself becomes an ur makif. The hevel apeh nase bechinas ur makif. In other words, that the etzem hevel itself forms a makif around you. That whatever you speak sort of creates a aura and a divine, a sort of a very powerful enveloping light around you, and that's what's mamshik from above. That's another thing. That's a further thing. He doesn't even go into that. That's just understood. But through that, through the actual speaking out, and that's a matter in Torah, then the hevel of the peh becomes a surrounding light itself. It itself does all the work. So if it can be able to do that, it's a sign it must come from a very deep source within it. So that's what he hints at. That's why the Alter Rebbe says, because in Priyat Chaim he's not talking about limud Torah, he's talking about making a bracha. But he points out how great the ability to speak, that you have to speak before you make a mitzvah, because that speaking already creates a sort of machim, and that's mamshicha. And Derech Hagav, just by the way, just to help us complete the class, it's very fascinating. The Alter Rebbe brings down in the reason I'm just finishing off now is because I wanted to start the new period today, but I feel that we've put enough on the map at the moment without going into something new. There's enough awaiting us in the next period, but we'll get to it. But the Alter Rebbe says an amazing thing in Likutei Torah when they get to the spies, the Meraglim. It's always sort of very mystifying. Through the Moshe Rabbeinu sent the spies, and the Eivisha said to him, listen, I'm not really commanding you to do this, I've already said mine. But if you want to do it, do it. That's what's written in Rashi. Yeah? So why would Moshe Rabbeinu want to send in the spies? You know, if Hashem says it's not really necessary, or Hashem didn't force him and oblige him to send them, then why would he want to send the spies? So one of the things that the Alter Rebbe offers an explanation. One explanation that he offers in Likutei Torah is it's in the same line. He said the Alter Rebbe wanted the Meraglim that they should go into Eretz Yisrael like a bracha, like making a bracha. He wanted to send in certain neshamas from the Yidden, like making a bracha before you do a mitzvah. In other words, first of all, that the Meraglim would go in, and they would be like a series of sentences of like a divine bracha. If they would have done what they really meant to have done, then they would be like a blessing, and that would be mamshich. We just said a blessing is mamshich, a very, very high light, and they would have been mamshich, a very, very great makif, and that would have made it much easier to conquer anyway, Eretz Yisrael. I mean, anyway, the Abish already promised that these guys are not going to be able to stand against the Yidden, and there's going to be the entrance into Eretz Yisrael. But it would have been, Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to make it, as it were, in a much more elevated and necessary way. And therefore, it's an amazing thing. The Alter Rebbe says in a place, I've seen it, I just can't remember exactly now where I saw it, but it's written. The Alter Rebbe says that if the Meraglim would have listened to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they would have done exactly what he said, there wouldn't have been any need for any war or any fighting or anything. The Yidden just would have gone over the Jordan, and they would have just walked into Eretz Yisrael, and the Goyim would have just all moved out and let them in and said Shalom Aleichem. Those who didn't want to say Shalom Aleichem would have just got out anyway, and Yidden would have walked into Eretz Yisrael without the necessity of the war. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu had in mind. Hey, Moshe Rabbeinu made a huge bracha with the Meraglim. He was like trying to send them in, that since they were such high people, they were Nasiyah Yisrael, that they would be mamshich, a high order, which would make it possible to elevate Eretz Yisrael, as it were, in a way which would complete and absolutely keep the divine rotten, the divine will. Unfortunately, to our great Tsar, the Meraglim, the spies, didn't live up to the hope and to the demand. Therefore, there was unfortunately a big drop, and it's got something to do with the present day and age. It's the 3 weeks. It's well known that the 3 weeks in Tisha B'Av all connect back to the Meraglim, everything. So Hashem Shados, we should only know Avsosim V'Simcha, we should only know Geula, take a Miyad Mamish, and we should all make a bracha and a mitzvah with an extra chayas, and we should also learn and say, B'dibur, what we're learning with the extra chayas, because with that you're bringing down a tremendously high ma'aseh. It says the Alter Rebbe. Now we realize why Talmud Torah keneged kulam. If you actually bring it out b'dibur, then you've got another makif, which is a kol shein, like the previous makif that we mentioned. Good.
Go ahead.